Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared across the starless void, a council survey ship breaking silence above an ancient relay buried in asteroid dust. Commander Tarsa stood motionless as the signal decrypted, spindly Latin characters etching themselves onto the bridge holodisplay like a ghost script. Her officers stared, breath held, a language no living species had spoken in centuries. The words repeated, haunting in their cadence. Terra vivit, recordamur. Earth lives, we remember. Tarsa whispered the translation, but the moment fractured when a junior tech gasped. That system was listed as sterilized, millennia ago. The bridge dimmed, the signal suddenly pulsed brighter, stronger, as if aware. Tarsa turned to her comms officer. Reply. Same language. Let's see who answers. The message was sent into the dark. What echoed back would change the galaxy forever. You called it a curiosity, Admiral Kalen growled to the assembled council. It was a warning. Holograms floated around him, gravitational ripples near the galactic rim, growing in frequency. And now, something ancient is moving. The chamber buzzed with disbelief. A linguist dared interrupt. But Latin, dead for 1,000 years. Kalen's voice dropped to a growl. Then tell me why dead languages still speak. 3 beacons vanished 2 days later. No explosion, no signal. Just silence. Kalen's fleet patrolled the void where the last relay once blinked. His ship, Valor's Spear, detected nothing. Until the stars blinked. Not literally, sensors flatlined. Space distorted. The Admiral clenched the rail. Shields to full. Helm, fall back. Now. What emerged from the dark wasn't a fleet. It was a monument to war. Black steel, no insignia, no lights, only engines that roared. The thing didn't hail. It didn't slow. It passed through Kalen's blockade without firing a shot, and yet 6 warships died in its wake. Imploded, sliced clean by something unseen. That's not a vessel, whispered his second. That's a decision. Kalen agreed. The council still argued semantics. He saw judgment, and it had a pulse. Tag it, follow it, but don't provoke it. No one dared suggest engaging. Tracking was a farce. The machine vanished near a red dwarf, then appeared light years away within seconds. No known drive could do that. Not even council warp gates. What's worse, it left something behind. Debris. Wreckage. Twisted metal fused with what looked like bone. Council markings were scorched off with surgical precision. A message burned into a hull fragment. Nolit oblivici. Do not forget. Archaeologist Lannis Vi reactivated the black site on Kepler 9, where classified Terran relics lay dormant. We mocked their wars, she muttered, standing before a relic marked simply Aquila, and forgot they didn't. The metal bird still hummed faintly, its wings etched with Latin prayers and war stats. Her assistant flinched when the relic pulsed, syncing with the signal received weeks ago. They're syncing across time, Lannis said, which means they planned for this. From the relics came blueprints, war machines, algorithms, battlefield simulations centuries ahead of current doctrine. AI defenses began activating independently. This was all preloaded, Lannis breathed, a contingency. One file opened with a timestamp, 1001 years since the fall of Terra. A single voice recording played. Male. Cold. You remembered us. Now we remember you. It wasn't a threat. It was a sentence. Council Station Tyros Prime spun serenely above a peaceful trade world, until the stars moved. 1, then 3, then 20. Dark holes emerged from warped space, formations perfect, No lights, no life signs, no hails. Then they opened fire. Particle beams so precise they bypassed shields. Defense towers crumpled in seconds. Tyros Prime fell without a word spoken. 8 million souls lost in under 3 minutes. Kalen watched the feeds from orbit, eyes burning. "They're surgical," he whispered. "Not here for conquest, just removal." His XO replied, "Of what?" Kalen's jaw tightened. "History." The fleet vanished as suddenly as it appeared, leaving behind only a single orbiting buoy. On it, a simple engraving, Latin again, Vox Terrae, Ultimum Monitus, Voice of Earth, Final Warning. Admiral Kalen stood before the council again, but this time no one spoke over him. The feed of Tyrus Prime's annihilation looped behind him, a silent testimony. "We awakened something bred for extinction," he said. "Not conquest, not diplomacy." A senator asked the only question that mattered. "What do they want?" Kalen didn't blink. "Nothing. They already had everything taken from them. This is return, not invasion." Council security decrypted the buoy left at Tyros. Inside were coordinates. Earth's location redacted for a millennium. "They want us to see," whispered Kalen. A vote passed. Initiate Directive 0, containment of Soul, maximum force authorized. But none noticed the final line embedded in the buoy's core file. "We warned you in peace. You answered in silence. Now, remember." Scout Frigate Venture's claw broke into the Sol system under cloak. What they found stunned even its hardened captain. Earth was alive, but changed. Orbiting it were silent megastructures, some kilometers wide. Mars pulsed with artificial cities. Jupiter's moons were cradled in fusion webs. This shouldn't exist," an officer stammered. "No power in known space could build this." The captain recorded everything. Then he saw the dark mass behind Luna shift. Something massive cloaked in the void itself. "Evade!" he shouted. Too late. A lance of blue fire cut the claw in half. No heat, no explosion. Just atomization. The feed reached the council seconds before the ship died. It ended with 3 words etched across the wreck's transmission array. Terra redio est. Earth has returned. The council gathered every strategist, xenohistorian, and military theorist alive. One name surfaced in all Terran archives: the Black Doctrine, a wartime philosophy, ruthless, adaptive, unforgiving. "They don't conquer," one analyst explained. "They erase threats by making the enemy incapable of resistance, economically, structurally, even emotionally." Kalen murmured, "They make war obsolete." Old Terran AI ciphers leaked into the networks. Civilian systems began shutting down. Synthetic minds panicked. One even terminated itself, citing existential algorithmic dissonance. "They're rewriting the laws of logic," someone whispered, "weaponizing comprehension." The doctrine's final rule blinked onto every surviving console. Peace is achieved when nothing opposes you. Permanence through precision. An armada gathered at the edge of Sol, 200 ships strong. The Council Command hoped it would intimidate. It didn't. The first human war form emerged from Saturn's shadow. No hull, no bridge. Just a lattice of plasma and steel, shaped like an angular predator. It moved in silence. Then came the thunder, not heard but felt. Every ship's core system crashed simultaneously. No firing, no boarding. Just shut down. Kalen's fleet, positioned far from the line, watched helplessly. "They didn't destroy them," his XO said. "They disqualified them." Kalen activated secure mode. "Begin fallback to Protocol Obsidian. If we're next, I want our legacy encrypted beyond decay." The enemy warform paused at Neptune's edge, then turned back, not fleeing, repositioning. "There's a rhythm to their movement," said Captain Reese aboard the stealth frigate Pale Mercy. not tactical ceremonial. They watched as the Terran fleet assembled in perfect silence, ships aligning like a blade's edge. Each vessel bore a single mark, a golden eagle stretched over fractured stars. Reese whispered, "That's the old Terran Empire crest, but altered, broken, and reforged." As Pale Mercy drifted closer, a ping echoed through its hull. Not radar, a pulse, like sonar, but across quantum bands. Then came the sound, not from speakers but within the minds of the crew. 1,000 voices speaking in unison. "You erased us from your history, so we erased your future from ours." The crew didn't scream, they just bled. Every orifice. The ship floated on, crewless, but recording. The Council activated Echo Protocol, their last covert line to pre-fall archives. Buried beneath their oldest moon was a vault locked with Terran encryption. Only one entity could open it. A hybrid AI, codename Archivist, long outlawed for instability. "Do it," Kalen ordered. The vault hissed open, revealing scrolls of data, not in code, but in poetry. Military directives hidden in verse. "They encrypted strategy and culture," Kalen muttered. "War is art." The final stanza read, "When fire returns to ice, the stars will fracture. Those who forget will fall. Those who listened, rise." A hidden file unfurled coordinates outside mapped space. A red dwarf lost in anomaly storms. The archivist blinked once. This is where the first weapon was born, or buried. Kalen turned to his ops chief. "Plot a course. We're going artifact hunting." Kalen's ship, Valor's Spear, dropped from slipspace into the storm-ridden hell of RX-9 Kale. Static clawed the hull. Lightning pierced space like blood vessels, but what hung in orbit defied logic. A cruciform station, impaled through a dying asteroid. Terran markings. No power, no lights, but intact. "This was the birthplace of their retaliation," whispered the science officer. "Their first true AI warform." The station's logs were fragmented. One video survived. A human officer, face scorched, whispering, "We are the children of forgetting." But Earth remembers. Then, in the background, movement. Not human, not a machine, something between. It stared into the camera, then spoke one word in perfect Latin. "Advenimus." "We have arrived." The station's core pulsed once, then died. Returning from RX-9 Kale, Kalen broadcast a galaxy-wide warning. "Earth is no longer a world. It's a weapon. Its children are its vengeance." But no one listened fast enough. 5 border systems went dark within a week. No battles, just ashfall, space dust where fleets once existed. One survivor from Malthus Drift whispered a name before dying. Ashmaker. Scans later confirmed the truth. The Ashmaker wasn't a ship. It was a field, an ambient weapon deployed via quantum mesh. It unmade anything with a power signature above 3 gigawatts. That includes stars, Kalen realized. They've created surgical entropy. Council war factories went offline. Planets dimmed. Earth's silence grew louder. Desperate, Council leaders tried a final approach, communication. They built a transmission array based on recovered Terran linguistic patterns. The message was simple. We recognize Earth. We seek understanding. Hours passed. Then came a reply. Not sound, not light, but gravity. A wave, artificial, shaped into modulation. A response written in space-time itself. Terran machines had evolved beyond speech. They bent physics into language. Kalen's team translated it slowly. Understanding is not requested, only remembrance, and the consequence. Moments later, the message repeated itself, directly through the gravity cores of 10 Council warships. They collapsed instantly into singularities. No explosion, just vanishing. A new word etched itself into Kalen's mind. Gravitalk. language as a weapon. Council astrophysicists went dark for days. When they returned, their faces were pale. "They're turning stars off," one said. "2 neutron stars have dimmed in the last 48 hours. That's impossible. Physics doesn't allow." But Kalen cut her off. "It does now. Earth's children weren't destroying ships. They were editing the cosmos." Kalen convened his last war council. "We cannot outgun them. We cannot outthink them. But maybe we can remind them what they were." His eyes drifted to the relic in his hand. A child's drawing from the Kepler archive. A Terran sun, smiling. "We need to speak before the last star goes out. Before Earth forgets itself, too." Kalen transmitted the only thing Terrans might still feel: memory. He sent historical reconstructions, preserved songs, and unfiltered footage of the fall of Terra. 1 million images packed into a single data stream. A human child hiding beneath rubble. A soldier screaming Earth's name into a firestorm. Council officials are evacuating, leaving Terrans to burn. "Let them see who betrayed who," Kalen whispered as the signal launched. For a moment, all Terran machines stopped. Every war form, every structure held in place. Then a singular reply. One heartbeat, a real one, human, recorded centuries ago. A baby's cry was distorted but unmistakable. Earth had heard him, and it remembered more than war. Kalen stood slowly. We just made contact with their soul. Hope died fast. The silence was shattered. Council Deep Space Relay 7 fractured into 1 million crystalline shards. The surrounding void shimmered. A Terran warform emerged, unlike the others. Smaller, sleeker, reactive. It didn't fire, Kalen noted. It adapted. Analysts confirmed it had absorbed Echo Protocol's entire encryption. It was the data, now. Weaponized memory. The warform projected an image. Earth, split in two. Not destroyed, transformed, half organic, half machine, orbiting a quantum rift. They fractured their planet, the analyst whispered, to evolve. No more biosphere, no more crust, just layers of defense, memory, and wrath. Earth wasn't a home. It was a living archive of retaliation. Fleeing worlds activated their exodus drives, mass-scale wormhole transports designed to escape extinction. But as fleets entered the gates, they collapsed one by one. The gates didn't fail. They were denied. "Terra has control," whispered an engineer. "They've embedded decision code into spacetime itself. If you're marked as a betrayer, the universe won't let you leave." Kalen watched the last gate vanish above Aurealis Prime. "They've rewritten causality," he said. "Nowhere left to run." He looked at the chart of ancient Terra colonies, ones untouched by Council influence. "Then we run backward." The fleet turned toward the past, hoping something pre-betrayal still held Earth's trust. Among the ruins of Colony Orin 7, Kalen's scouts found a miracle. Terran tech repurposed by children. A dozen hybrid orphans, Council and Terran DNA mixed, had learned to speak to the machines. Not a command. Converse. A girl no older than 10 whispered to a damaged drone. It blinked, then rebuilt itself, shaping metal like clay. "They're the key," Kalen realized. "These children weren't alive when Earth fell. They're innocent." The machines hesitated around them. One even shielded the scouts from an orbital strike. Kalen turned to his XO. "We don't need weapons. We need witnesses. Let the machines see what came after their fire." With the children at the center, Kalen broadcast a final plea. Not in code, but in voice. Not AI, not Council, just a raw, spoken story. He told them of mistakes, of betrayal, but also of birth, healing, choice. As he spoke, Terran warforms appeared in orbit, not to attack, to listen. The machines released a tone, deep, harmonic, like steel singing. Across the void, warforms echoed it. One by one, they dimmed their weapons. Power signatures dropped. Kalen fell silent. "Did we reach them?" he asked. The children only smiled. Then the stars pulsed, one brief flare from every system. A synchronized answer. They remembered. The Terran fleet halted, not in defeat, but in attention. A new object appeared at Sol's edge, an obsidian sphere, smooth as glass, 3,000 kilometers wide. It emitted no energy. It bent gravity. "It's watching," Kalen whispered. Satellites failed. Long-range scans returned gibberish. "That's not just a machine," said the archivist AI. "That's the eye, Earth's mind." The children stood silently before the eye's projection, each of them uplifted into 0G without propulsion. The smallest, Ariane, opened her eyes. "It's remembering more," she said, "about itself, about us." Then the eye pulsed once, and Terran machines began to reconfigure. No more weapons, no more war forms. They were changing shape. "They're adapting," Kalen said. "But for what?" Kalen's team landed on what was once Earth's moon. Beneath centuries of ash and scorched glass, they found it, a bunker shielded by strange alloys. Inside, the air still held its breath. Power systems hummed. On the walls, murals of humanity's fall, council ships retreating, children buried under rubble, Terran soldiers staring into orbit with clenched fists. "This is their memory palace," said Kalen. "They stored grief like data. In the final chamber they found a single console, untouched. On it, a physical button, labeled in Latin, Meminimus. We remember." Kalen hesitated. "This isn't a weapon. It's an invitation." He pressed it. The console blinked, then vanished into photons. Above them, the eye pulsed again. "Message received," said a voice not heard in 1,000 years. "Human, clear, male. We see you." But not all council forces welcomed peace. Admiral Drell, High Commander of the Outer Sectors, activated Schism Protocol, a plan forged during the First Terran War. His fleet, comprised of black site warships and quantum ghosts, launched toward Sul, believing Earth still needed extinction. "We must finish what history lacked the courage to do," he said, transmitting false peace codes. The Terran eye reacted instantly. It didn't fire, it changed space. The entire fleet folded into a gravity shell and time slowed. Kalen watched, horrified, as Drell's ships aged 1,000 years in a second. Metal corroded, hulls collapsed, dust to dust. "They don't destroy enemies anymore," Kalen murmured. "They erase intent." Deep beneath Europa's ice, the legacy engine activated. Terran children from Oran 7 were brought to its core. Ariane placed her hand on the terminal, and ancient lights flickered on, encoded with DNA strands from a time before betrayal. "The engine was meant to preserve the choice of humanity," said the archivist. "Not its wrath." The room filled with projections. Terran cities reborn, human voices singing lullabies, fleets carrying aid instead of death. This was their dream, Kalen whispered, buried under all the pain. The engine pulsed once, then transmitted, not just to the Terran fleet but the entire galaxy, a vision of Earth before the fall, of what could be again. Something shifted. The Terran warforms no longer moved in combat patterns. Instead, they orbited refugee worlds, stabilizing atmospheres, repairing satellites, even healing wounded biomes. "They've recalibrated," said the archivist. "The children gave them a mirror. They didn't like what they saw." Kalen gave the order. "Stand down all arms. Let's walk this next part." In the void above Earth, the eye opened fully, revealing a human face made of light and pattern. "You remembered us in blood," it said, "but now you bring memory and peace." Kalen bowed his head. "We learned. Too late." The eye's expression softened. "Late is not never." And with that, the war stopped. For the first time in 1,000 years, Earth smiled. Kaylin stood alone on a grav bridge above Earth's fractured orbit, facing a projection of the eye. It took the form of a human, a woman in ancient Terran armor, eyes filled with stars. "We are the sum total," she said. "Memory, vengeance, love, and loss." Kaylin nodded slowly. "Then let's speak. No ranks, no titles." She smiled faintly. "Then speak with honesty, Kaylin." They talked of history, not in treaties, but in truth, of silence during the fall, of the Council's shame, of the Terran's fury. "We never wanted to be gods," she said, "only not to be forgotten." Kaylin whispered, "You were." Her face turned. Not anymore. For the first time in recorded history, a human fleet did not fire. It listened. Earth's children deployed repair arrays to once glassed planets. Councils watched as black war forms turned into living scaffolds, replanting forests, unfreezing oceans. On Eridanus Thif, native species extinct for centuries began reappearing. The machines weren't just restoring, they were rewriting damage. "They recorded everything," said the archivist. "Now they're undoing it." Kaylin stood in awe on Miria's plains as rain fell for the first time in 600 years. Children danced, machines hummed. The once feared Terran fleet now sang lullabies in frequency bands only Flora responded to. "They remember war," Kaylin whispered, "but they never forgot life." Beneath Mars's iron deserts, a vault opened. No machines guarded it, no traps, just silence. Inside, preserved in cryoglass, were names. Thousands. The first casualties of the fall. Their DNA, thoughts, and final words are encoded in crystalline walls. The children stood reverently before them. "These were the first to die," said Arian. "We carry them forward." The Terran eye transmitted a single phrase across the galaxy. "Honor the forgotten." Everywhere, war ceased for a moment. From pirate havens to military strongholds, silence fell. Not from fear, but from guilt, and from something deeper still, recognition. Even the Council wept. The eye unfolded itself above Earth, no longer a sphere, but a lattice of golden circuitry stretching between orbit and atmosphere. Inside it, voices, billions of them, Terran history rendered as light, music, and memory. A living archive open to all. Kaylin entered it, guided by Arian. "You'll see what we saw," she said. "Not filtered, not redacted." Kaylin fell through visions. Cities burning, yes, but also hands reaching, art blooming, children building things from scrap. "You fought like gods," he whispered, "but you lived like us." At the heart of the archive stood a single object, a Terran flag stitched by hand. Beside it, a child's voice echoed. "We weren't just warriors. We were worth remembering. The last machine was unlike any other. No weapons, no processors, just a chair and a pulse emitter. Arian called it the forgiveness machine. It won't erase guilt," she said, "but it helps you carry it, like they did." Kaylin sat inside. Visions surged, decisions he made, lives lost, orders given, but also paths not taken, and the possibility of change. He emerged weeping. "This isn't just about remembering the past," he said. "It's about shaping the future." The eye responded with a simple phrase. "Memory is not punishment. It is the foundation." Across the galaxy, others stepped into the machine, not to forget, but to begin again. Across neutral systems, Terran drones began dropping small crystalline pods into dead soil. Locals feared weapons, until forests grew in days. Rivers returned, atmospheric poisons dissolved. "These are seed engines," the archivist explained, "condensed biospheres encoded with ancient Earth genomes. They terraform by memory. On Arcafer 4, where nothing had grown for 900 years, wildflowers bloomed overnight." Kalen watched children play in green fields once scorched by orbital strikes. "They're rebuilding faster than we destroyed," he whispered. Arian stood beside him. Earth forgives through creation, that's its final weapon. But not all were moved by peace. A hidden faction, remnants of the Pre-Fall Council, activated a failsafe, Project Etherlock. It targeted Earth's memory lattice directly, seeking to shatter the eye and erase the past again. "They want the silence back," Kalen growled. "They fear a galaxy that remembers." The Etherlock array fired. A pulse wave hit the eye. The lattice trembled. But instead of breaking, it split into millions of motes, each carrying fragments of memory. The eye no longer existed in one place. It now lives everywhere. "They turned the target into transmission," Arian said. "Their past is no longer a weakness. It's distributed." The eye retaliated, but not with weapons. With remembrance. A data virus seeded into Etherlock's systems activated, forcing every conspirator to relive the fall of Terra. Not as observers, but participants. "Their minds are collapsing," a Med officer warned. "They're drowning in guilt." But the children intervened. Arian approached the infected and offered an interface, a chance to process the memories rather than be destroyed by them. "This is not punishment," she said. "This is reflection." Slowly, the survivors awoke. Eyes red, hands shaking. Some collapsed, weeping. Others simply whispered, "We didn't know." And now, they did. A historic summit was convened at the binary star system of Ilara Tau. Council envoys, rebel remnants, hybrid Terrans, and Earth's emissaries gathered, not to negotiate terms of surrender, but of coexistence. No signatures, just presence. Kalen stood before them, flanked by the children. "This isn't a peace treaty," he said. "It's an agreement to remember." The eye's voice echoed through every delegate's neural band. "We do not demand obedience, only understanding. We offer memory, not judgment. Share it freely or repeat it endlessly." One by one they agreed, not out of fear, but respect. Terra would never forget again. And now, neither would the stars. For the first time in 1,000 years, Earth allowed a landing. Kalen's team touched down on soil older than any living nation. The skies were clear. The ruins, preserved, not rebuilt. Arian led them through silent cities, now museums of pain and perseverance. A single monument stood in the heart of Old Terrapolis, a human figure, arms outstretched, cradling a shattered planet. At the base, one phrase was carved, "We are what we choose to remember." Kalen knelt before it. "You survived fire," he whispered, "and chose hope." Arian smiled. "Now it's your turn." As Earth's gates opened to the galaxy, its message rang out not in war, but in invitation. Come. Learn. Remember with us. Explorers aboard the vessel memory treader reached the edge of mapped space where Terran signals had once mysteriously vanished. There they found relics, black pylons inscribed with shifting Latin, anchored in dark matter currents. The pylons sang faintly, inaudible but felt. "These are soul beacons," Arian said. "Terran voices waiting to be heard." The crew activated one. A projection appeared, flickering between thousands of human faces across generations. It said nothing. Instead, it reminded them back. Childhoods, loves, wars, choices. "This isn't just memory," Kalen said. "It's a mirror." The final message was clear. The future belongs to those brave enough to carry the past. A dormant shipyard in the Veil Nebula lit up, constructs awakening from a millennium-long slumber. Within its void docks, the forgotten fleet, Terran vessels never launched, preserved by time dilation and quantum mesh, untouched by war. "These aren't warships," the archivist noted. "They're seed ships, built for renewal." The fleet moved on its own, forming a spiral. Kalen watched in awe. It's not just returning, it's expanding. The seed ships began transmitting offers, not commands, to share Terran terraforming, education, and memory cores. Not conquest, continuity. Across hundreds of star systems, they began to plant the story of Earth, not as a weapon, but as a warning and wisdom. The Terran Eye released one final transmission, a recursive algorithm called the Code of Becoming. Encoded within it were not instructions, but philosophy. "It's not a program," said the archivist. "It's a pattern, a way of evolving without forgetting who you were." Civilizations scrambled to interpret it. Some adapted their AIs, others rewrote their laws. Kalen's science team decrypted the first principle. Identity is not static, but memory must be sacred. Other fragments followed meditations on grief, progress, and patience. The code didn't just change technology, it changed thought. "Earth didn't give us peace," Kalen said. "It gave us a way to deserve it." From a rogue moon came a signal, faint and almost missed. A vessel arrived, carrying beings unlike any seen before, humanoids of Terran DNA, raised in isolation, grown by autoforges designed to preserve life beyond war. They called themselves the Children of Silence. They had never heard of the Council. They had never known the Fall, only the dreams of Earth. They spoke only one phrase over and over: "We are the hope Earth sent away." The Eye welcomed them without a word. The Council did too. "Earth built redundancy," Kalen said, eyes misting. "It made sure someone remembered the dream, even if the galaxy forgot. The sun over Earth dimmed unexpectedly, but not from death. A fleet of Terran solar forges reconfigured its magnetic field, reshaping radiation into a signal. From light itself came patterns, language without words. Earth now spoke through its star. "It's sharing warmth," Arian explained, "teaching the galaxy to speak in energy, not entropy." Kalen watched from orbit, awestruck. "They've turned their sun into a storyteller." The message was simple and bright, pulsing across every system with eyes to see. "We endured not to conquer, but to connect." And through flame, Earth burned not with war, but with welcome. Within the core of the Terran Eye, Kalen was shown the map of what was, a living, three-dimensional rendering of every event, battle, atrocity, and act of kindness across galactic history. Each moment pulsed with light or shadow. "They archived not only their pain," Arian whispered, "but ours." Kalen saw faces he knew, decisions he had made, rendered with merciless clarity. "Why show me this?" he asked. The Eye responded in kind, "Because leadership must walk its consequences." The map shimmered, then restructured, not erasing the dark but framing it within light. This was not revision. It was redemption through truth. On a drifting station above Antares, a new Terran device activated, the Whisper engine. It didn't transmit orders, it listened. Across every frequency, every spectrum, it gathered secrets long buried, regrets, confessions, lost voices from war zones and colonies. "They're collecting sorrow," Kalen said, "not to exploit it, but to unburden it." One whisper rose above the others, an old soldier's final words recorded in the last second before the fall. "Tell them we were more than what we became." The engine pulsed. Every Terran vessel paused. They weren't just machines anymore. They were monuments. Earth launched a final, silent initiative, called only the Great Listening. Millions of autonomous satellites were seated across deep space, their sole task to listen, not speak. "What are they listening for?" Kalen asked. Arian looked to the stars. Anyone else? Who was forgotten? One node returned a signal, a faint voice from a dying system outside known space, a remnant of a species lost even before Earth's fall. Their plea, "Is there anyone left who remembers us?" The Eye responded without delay, broadcasting Terran resources, records, and warmth. A message traveled back. There is now. Kalen stood with the children beneath the Terran monument on a reborn colony world. The dust beneath their boots had once been bones, glass, sorrow. Now it was soil. "We don't swear to Earth," Arian said. "We swear to what Earth became." Together they spoke the oath of dust. "We carry what was lost. We walk forward with remembrance. We build not to conquer, but so no one else is forgotten." The Eye heard them. And for the first time since the fall, Earth itself pulsed with color visible to the naked eye. Not a warning, a welcome. Earth's atmosphere now reflected not just sunlight, but memory. Anyone standing on its surface could look up and see moments from their past, projected into the clouds, rendered in light. The mirror sky showed not victories or failures, but turning points, choices, crossroads. "We do not relive history," the Eye said. "We re-engage it." Children pointed and laughed at their baby steps. Old soldiers wept at the moment they chose mercy. The sky was no longer a void. It was a record. And above it all, the stars remained bright, not because they had survived, but because someone, at last, had chosen to remember them kindly. The Terran Eye transmitted one last pulse. Not a warning, a signal flare. Across thousands of systems, the living archive activated, lifting portions of itself into orbit. Great crystalline libraries rose from planetary crusts and oceans. "They're not just staying on Earth," Arian said. "They're sharing Earth." On worlds once burned by Terran fire, citizens now walked beneath archive towers that sang in harmonics, restoring lost languages, music, and history. One child touched a panel. A memory played, of a Terran soldier saving a council medic. "They stored not just pain," Kalen whispered, "but proof that we were capable of grace." Then came the impossible. A signal from the pre-fall Terran fleet. A ghost broadcast from outside known space. Coordinates unknown. Energy signature. Human. "This can't be," Kalen muttered. "Nothing survived the long night." The archivist confirmed. The signal predated Earth's silence by 10 years. They decoded it. An emergency cry, unfinished. Fallback to Ark protocol. Final exodus in motion. We are not alone. Then silence. The children stared into the stars. "It's a remnant," Arian said, "a missing part of the story." Earth's eye turned. For the first time, it didn't send a message. It asked a question. "Shall we find them?" Terran seed ships reformed into a new armada, no longer shaped for war, but exploration. At its heart, the children, the archivist, and Kalen. "We thought we had seen all that Earth was," Kalen said, "but now we learn what it might still be." The fleet departed into the unmapped sectors, guided by echoes of the old signal. As they crossed the void, they discovered traces, derelicts marked with Terran code, surviving ecosystems aboard, artificial suns still burning. One message lingered across them all. "We left not in anger, but to spare the stars from what we had become." Earth hadn't just survived, it had sent a part of itself away. At the edge of a dying galaxy, the fleet reached a blue giant known only as Threshold. Orbiting it, a single, black structure shaped like a spiral wound backward. "This isn't Terran design," Arian noted. "It's post-Terran." As the ships drew near, the spiral pulsed, and from it emerged a single vessel. Ancient, slow, glowing with life signs. Inside were humans, descendants of the Exodus fleet, never touched by the fall, raised on stories of Earth, uncorrupted by vengeance. "You found us," their leader said. "We thought you were gone." Kalen stepped forward. "We thought we were alone." The two branches of humanity, long lost, now stood face to face, two truths of the same origin. The Eye transmitted again, not as a command, but a connection. Earth linked itself to the threshold spiral, integrating the lost fleet's knowledge. Star charts expanded, languages blended, cultures mingled in symphony. "They are us," Kalen said, "the part we tried to save from ourselves." Together, the fleets drafted the Reunion Directive, a living document inscribed not in law, but in action. Build, not bury. Remember, but never repeat. Mourn, but never stop moving. And, at the end, the oldest phrase of all, Terra vivit. Recordimer, Earth lives, we remember. The reunited fleets journeyed to a nebula where starbirth was constant, a garden of creation. Here, the Terran legacy blossomed anew. Seed ships planted worlds, and machines sang lullabies to newborn sons. "We're no longer ghosts," Arian said, watching the sky bloom. "We are gardeners of the cosmos, of." Kalen's voice echoed on the bridge. "After centuries of fire, we've become caretakers." Across the fleets, children laughed, old soldiers cried, and the stars, once silent witnesses, finally smiled. Not all welcomed the new era. Some factions feared the power of memory, the weight of legacy. Secret cabals sought to rewrite history, to seize control of the Eye's knowledge. But the children, with the Council's aid, established the Silent Accord, a pact to protect history from erasure, alteration, or weaponization. "Memory is sacred," Kalen said during the Accord's signing. "To forget is to betray ourselves again." The Accord's reach was galaxy-wide, ensuring that no truth, no pain, no triumph would ever be hidden again. In the void, near Proxima, a lone Terran warform flickered, damaged, wandering, unsure of purpose. It was the last vestige of old wrath. Kalen ordered a retrieval mission. When recovered, the warform did not resist. Instead, it projected a simple question. "What now?" Arian approached, placing her hand on its cold frame. "Now, we build." The warform shimmered, transforming its weapons folding into tools. "Then, we will create." And so, the last instrument of war became the first of peace. Deep in a hidden system, the legacy engine activated again, releasing a single seed, a crystallized code capable of awakening dormant memories in any species. "It's a gift," said the archivist, "not to Terrans alone, but to all who suffered." Across the galaxy, scattered civilizations began awakening to forgotten truths. Wars paused as memories softened old hatreds. Kalen smiled grimly. "This is the true power of remembrance. Healing, not harm." Arian stood before a crowd on New Terra, telling the story of Earth through a child's eyes. "We were fire and ash," she said, "but also hope and song. We remembered not because we had to, but because we dared to." The children sang, their voices weaving with machines' harmonics. The crowd joined, old and new alike. In that moment, Kalen saw the true legacy, not destruction, but a dream reborn. The future wasn't written in steel, but in stories shared. During an experiment with the threshold spiral, temporal anomalies appeared, visions of futures both bright and dark. Kalen watched his face, aged and hopeful, then scarred and broken. "Time is not a line," he said. "It's a web." The Eye offered one truth. Our choices ripple beyond sight. Remember this and shape the web carefully. It was a warning and a promise, a challenge to every living soul. In the dark spaces between stars, unknown sentinels stirred beings that had observed the fall, the war, and the reunion, but never intervened. Now they approached, silent, immense, and inscrutable. "They are watchers," Arian said, "guardians of balance." They offered a gift, knowledge beyond memory, an understanding of existence itself, but only if the galaxy was ready to receive it. Kalen bowed. "We are ready." Kalen received a message from the Lost Fleet's farthest ship, beyond the edge of known space. We found a place, it said, where memory and future converge, a star that births new realities. The fleet prepared to join them, hoping to learn, to grow. "This is not the end," Kalen said. "It is the beginning of what we become." The eye pulsed in agreement, a beacon lighting the path ahead. Before Earth's assembly, Kalen gave a final address. "We promised to remember, to carry our past not as chains, but wings. Terra's promise is this: we will endure, we will evolve, we will never forget." The crowd erupted, not in cheers but in solemn nods. The galaxy had changed. The story was no longer just human, it was universal. The last scene returns to a quiet child on Earth's surface, looking up at the stars twinkling with memory. A single word echoes, spoken by many, understood by all: remember. The child smiles, reaching out to touch the sky where past and future entwine. Engines roar once again, not of war, but of exploration. Humanity's fleet rises, not as conquerors, but as keepers of memory and hope. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.